Still season 3, and today is episode 5. For anyone that is your first time tuning in to Talking with Ty, this is an unscripted lifestyle podcast, and it focuses on the story behind the brand. This is a platform where I invite a guest to come and have a conversation with me to touch on the personal side of life. I believe that everyone has a story, and it is truly our story that connects us. If you've been following Talking with Ty, guys, this is season 3, episode 5. So you know what our podcast is all about. We really like to bring professionals and leaders. It seems like we've been gravitating to the multifamily industry because, of course, that is an industry where I am truly passionate, and I'm really interested in the leaders that's in this industry. So this is a podcast, guys, where I invite leaders from our industry in to tell their story. Because the thing about the multifamily industry, and we all know, is everybody in this industry comes from a different walk of life. This is an industry, and I think it's an industry that's like no other because of that. And ingrained in the very fabric of this industry is just diversity. It's the difference in people. And I like to discover that. And I like to bring people together. And the people that I'm interested in connecting with, I really just tap those people on the shoulder. I show up in their inboxes. I show up in their text messages. And I just call them and I ask them, would they do this for me? So before we start to talk about who our next guest is, a little bit about me, because I always come on here and I focus on the guest, and I fail to tell you guys about me. So I'm Ty Jackson. If you know me, I just wanted to reiterate that I am taking bookings, guys. I am a advanced facilitator with the National Apartment Association. I was just on stage at Apartmentalized with the amazing Lori Goldman talking about imposter syndrome. If you are looking for a speaker for your next leadership conference, your next training event, and I'm talking about not just a speaker to check the box, guys, a speaker that's going to come in where your team is going to be coming up to you afterwards saying, thanks. Thanks for bringing her. I feel inspired. I feel challenged. And I feel ready to go back to my property and to serve my residents. If you're looking for that type of speaker, then I'm your girl. Right now, I am pushing my message on imposter syndrome, lead like an influencer, a huge course that I have for your suppliers, and I'm finding out this is for your leasing teams also, is relationship selling. We all just saw what a relationship did in the NBA draft. Everybody is in such an uproar about LeBron James and Bronny, but this is what I've been telling you guys the whole time. It's the relationship that matters in the sale. So if you want to be able to get Bronny on the team and have your leasing professionals or your supplier partners be the LeBron James of the industry, call me. I'm your girl. Also, if you're pushing your NAAEI credentials this year or for 2025, please reach out to me and let's have a consultation. And if you're looking for a keynote speaker, I'm your opening girl, but from what I've heard, I'm also your closer. I'm that after lunch girl to bring the energy. So if you're out there and you're looking for a speaker for your education conference, for your training conferences, for your leadership seminars, book Ty Jackson. All right, that's enough about me. So today, guys, I have the pleasure of sitting down with Angi Pusateri Downey. The key insights that Angi and I are going to talk about today, we're going to talk about supplier and owner-operator insights. We're going to talk about Angi's key takeaways from the 2024 Apartmentalized, adjusting to industry market changes. We're also going to talk about career growth in the real estate industry. But what we're really going to talk about today is who Angi really is behind the brand. If you are standing at your desk, if you're standing in the break room, getting a little piece of lunch to keep you going for the day, if you're in your home office, please stand to your feet and help me introduce Angi Pusateri Downey to the stage. Welcome, Angie.
What an introduction. Holy mackerel. That is fantastic. Oh my goodness, girl. You brought the energy. You brought that energy. This is fantastic. Oh my gosh.
Angie, thank you so much, first and foremost, for joining me today. Thank you for being a willing participant. As I said before, and you know it firsthand, I will slide right in your messenger. I will tap you on the shoulder and ask you for your time. And I know that we are all busy in this industry, and without hesitation, you said yes to me. And I really want you to know that I really appreciate your time today.
Of course, Ty. I think what you're doing is just extraordinary, and having people on talking about who they are, what they do, this industry. I mean, it's pretty tremendous. I feel pretty passionate about this industry, and as you know, and many people know. So I'm thrilled to be on the chat today, or on the live stream today.
Well, let's get into it. So, Angie, I know that you're currently working at Court Furniture right now. So let's talk about who is Angie. Let's just start right there. Who is Angie? who is Angie? Yeah, let's get into it.
Oh my goodness. Who am I? Oh my gosh. I am Angi Pusateri. I grew up in Texas, grew up in the DFW area of Texas. Grew my career in Texas as well. You talked a little bit earlier about how people end up in this industry, how people fall into this industry. Well, I don't know if I fell into the industry or I was drug into the industry, but either way, I'm here and I'm like so passionate about it and love it every single day. My father, for those that don't know, was a former chairman of the board of the National Apartment Association, Anthony V. Pusateri. He went by Tony. And my dad had an interesting impact, if you will, on the apartment industry. He was a very passionate, compassionate man for this industry, really for people in this industry. And, was former chairman of the board, as I mentioned. He worked in the Texas markets. He's worked for some of the largest management companies in the United States, and had a very broad background. But he was one of the founding fathers of the NAAEI, which is tremendous. So again, careers, education, pathways into this industry is really what it's all about. And pathways, speaking of, I'm an artist by nature, so I'm a little quirky, I'm a little dorky, if you will. And I love it for that for that specific reason, because you can place really anybody in this industry with any kind of skill set. I'm a painter, weaver, sculptor. I love to tear things up and put them all back together again. And that's really how I got my start in this industry, and was blessed enough to have found a home with a developer. And when I worked for the developer, I was able to see things in the blueprints and see things, materialize in front of my eyes. So it was a lot of fun that way to grow my career on the owner management side. And then my dad was like, hey, I'm going to invest in a company. And ended up working on the supplier side once he invested in a collection agency, and was there for many, many, many years before we sold that company. So that's how I landed in this crazy, impossible, possible place called the apartment industry.
You know what? I love that, though. I love how you were able to take your love for art and the components of it and match it up with our industry, because I think that is the one thing about it, and that's why people get in it and we stay. It's because you're able to be that outside thinker. You're able to be that the person with the shiny squirrel syndrome, and it works for you because it is chaotic. It is art, and it's sometimes a big mess that we have to be able to see through what it's got to do.
You got to see that
sometimes.
You gotta find that shiny star out there, that thing to take back, that thing that.
Well, it takes me back to a property that I worked at one time that I had to turn around. And this property had the most amazing views, though. And we went into a down unit, and everything, you know what a down unit looks like. And all I was able to do was go to the window, and I said, but look at this view. And I had just started with this company, and she said, I knew you were the person because you were able to see past the mess that we were in and find the beauty in it. And I think that's what art does. So when you said that, that kind of struck me like, you know what? This is a great field for an artist and an artist's mind because you can see the components and what it can be. And I think that's when we're forward thinkers, that's how you become successful in this industry when you're a forward thinker.
Yes. Absolutely.
So before you got drug into this industry, a girl from the DFW area, what did young Angie, like, I know you didn't raise your hand on career day and was like, I'm going to work in real estate. I'm going to work in property management. What did young Angie want to do?
You know, that's really funny because that's really all I knew. And so, I mean, my dad drug us out on properties. I mean, we were doing property tours and property walks and property visits at a young age. I really wanted to be an artist. I wanted to paint. I wanted to weave. I wanted to sculpt. I wanted to, get my hands dirty and do that. So, what makes my heart full, or what made my heart full then and still does now, is really art and athletics. I played soccer through college. I played volleyball in junior high. I ran track. I threw discus. My husband and I had a fabulous conversation about discus. Watching the Olympic trials. I was like, oh, I miss those days. And he's like, what do you mean? I was like, I threw the discus just because people said, well, you shouldn't. And I'm like, I should, and I can. So I did.
Well, you know what? But being on teams and being athletic, I'm sure you're able to bring that team spirit and that environment in with you to the things that you do, and being able to delegate, because I'm not an athletic girl. However, I know that there's a position on the team for everybody, and if they play their position right, that's how you make it to the playoffs.
It's like that book. Definitely. Everybody's got a seat on the bus, man. Everybody's got a position. Everybody's got, their skill set, and teams don't work without a multitude of skill sets to really take care of either a property or a situation or whatever the dynamic is there, because everybody's skill set's a little bit different. And that's really what a team is about, is utilizing everybody's skill set for the betterment of a business or a property or for a resident situation or for your own personal situation. Virginia Love talks about having a board of directors for your personal life. I absolutely love that. And you've got to have people in your life in all skill sets that you can either utilize and learn from, or really work with a team, the dynamics of a team to meet the end goal.
Wait a minute. I love board of directors for personal life.
Yes, that was Virginia Love.
We forget about that.
Yeah, it's, you got to think about that. Who is your tribe? Who is your group of girls, or your group of guys, or you're a group of people that support you and love you and are there for you no matter what. I mean, I think that's, and really to help you grow, help you, succeed and stretch and grow. And that's really what life is about, stretching and growing.
Well, and I will say, having those key people in your circle, that does change the game for you. I have been fortunate in this industry to find some ladies like that. My Ashia Shepherd, Dana Duckworth, Crystal Dukes, people who really are my friends outside of just us showing up on these trips together, us showing up on stages. We really are girlfriends with each other. And when you have those moments of imposter syndrome, when you have those moments, just being a woman, sometimes you really, you do need that tribe of people and that circle of girlfriends to cheerlead you on and to talk to you. So I love that fact. That's super amazing. So just saw you at Apartment of Lies, Angie.
Yes.
Tell us some of your takeaways, some of the things that you loved about this year at Apartment of Lies, and some of the things maybe that you could tell people, people who've never experienced it and been thinking about it. So what was your experience like this year?
Wow. Just tremendous. NAA has done an extraordinary job. Clark Ebert, the entire education group that really vets out.
I don't want to interrupt you, but Clark, that is my fashion guru. That is my friend. That is my love. So I cannot let you say his name and not give him a little twirl about, honey, because yes. Okay, keep going.
He has done a tremendous job, and this year I think they've outdone themselves. over 11,000 people is what I've heard. Clark, he sent me an email this morning because I asked him for some stats. So thank you for that. 11,000, over 11,000 people, 630 individual companies who were on the exhibit floor, and 110, y'all, 110 education sessions. Tremendous, outstanding job. Really, truly just one of those amazing things that, you know, you can come to apartmentalize, and I've been to many. I think I've been in the industry over 30 years. I came as a teenager, as y'all know. Just tremendous to see what kind of things you can really learn. And I love it because I get to keep my skills up by attending those sessions. Everything from authenticity to AI. Who hasn't heard about AI? Who doesn't know about AI these days? How it's impacting the apartment industry. Virtual tours. Talk about virtual tours and the prospect journey. And I love to think back to my days of being a marketing director. And I think I had a binder. Oh, they're probably a binder or two with all my stuff, right? And I had one for each property. And now it's all done digitally. It's all online. It's and each part of the journey is its own dynamic. So for me and for Apartmentalize and for anybody that hasn't been there, if you want to experience the apartment industry, you want to see the camaraderie, the networking, and the relationships, the people, the authenticity of the people that work in this tremendous industry, that is a great place to start. That is a great place to be, because there are all levels of people, all skill sets of people. And the sessions allow you to learn whatever you want to learn. If you want to learn about mental health, we've got mental health sessions. If you want to learn about AI and you want to learn about marketing, it's there. If you want to learn about employee engagement, it's there. If you want to learn about maintenance skills and that type of thing, how do you motivate your maintenance teams to continue to do what they do? It's all there at Apartmentalize. So I think that this year was outstanding in that regard, that it covered so many, amazing topics. I've listened to Barbara Sarvova with Sprout Marketing. I've listened to her podcast, her recap. So many people are recapping this year. And I think it's tremendous that there was so much good content shared, that everybody's got a little bit of a different perspective and a great insight on what happened.
Yes. No, to hear those numbers that you just said with the 11,000 people, the education sessions, I think this is my 9th year attending Apartmentalize, and you're right. It's just getting so much better and better every single year. And it starts to feel like this year, I'm like, this feels like a family reunion. It just, you start to see so many people, you being in it for the amount of time you have. You see so many people in every way you turn. It's a warm face. It's a smile. And you're right with the education sessions. I sit on the affiliate side now, so I don't have the luxury of being on site as much. But just to be able to go in there and refresh my memory, because I am a speaker, I am facilitating on these things. So the education that I'm able to get when I'm sitting in there, and some amazing speakers took the stage this year, with myself included.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Great time. So it was, and the affinity pavilions, like NAA is doing so much stuff. I went to a session with Marcy French and Rich George, and they were talking about teams, and it made me think about something when you said all the different teams and the different people to bring in a team. And he said having a diverse team, and talked about the strategy of having people on the team that think different. And he said he was talking about something that he did where he went to a pub on a certain night of the week, and they played trivia. And him and his friends didn't place first. And the people in his group, he said it, guys, were all white guys like him. That's what Rich said, not me. The team that did win, though, they were all made of different age groups, different ethnicities, sexualities. And because of that, they were all able to think different when it came to the trivia question.
Yep. And so, I mean, that's the only way a team works, like different thinking, different skill sets. And that's, regardless if it's you and I, you've got a lot more experience at podcasts than I do. And I've got a little more property management experience than you do. It all works out together. You're there to support one another.
Definitely. So adjusting to the industry market changes. What would you say? Let's talk about that a little bit. Well, we all know the changes, but let's hear it from Angie. I mean, even without me being on site, I still see the changes. We just talked about AI. Like, there are so many changes. So let's talk about what are you seeing in the industry right now with the changes?
Wow. So, there's a big talk about centralization, and we all know centralization is different for every single company and every single situation, because it's not just, pulling leasing teams off or pulling maintenance teams off and sharing resources and this and that. It's a little bit different, and it can mean a variety of different things. So I think that's one misunderstanding when people start talking about that, because it just depends on the company. What are they centralizing? What are they really looking at? So many companies have been doing that for so long anyway. It's really not even centralization. It's part of daily business. I would say the AI, the influence of AI, holy mackerel, from the nurture, all of the nurture software that's out there, from the leasing CRMs and the nurture softwares, and then going into, onboarding channels or onboarding softwares. It is tremendous. And, we all know from working in the apartment industry, it's got to be as smooth as possible for the prospect. And that is ultimately the goal. Everything that we're doing, in property management, the ultimate goal is to really take care of that resident, take care of that person moving into the apartment. So there is revenue generated to take care of the stakeholders of the communities or the stakeholders of the companies. And so it's all pretty related back to what that resident life cycle is, what that resident impression is. And I think the authenticity of the brand, the nuances of the communities, that has changed. It's not a one size fits all marketing plan anymore. You've really got to sit down, for suppliers like myself and working with the many companies that I do. That's something that I like to sit down and do with my companies, with my clients, is tell me about the nuances of what's happening in Phoenix, or what's happening in Florida, or what's happening in Texas. And then when you get even more granular than that, and you start talking about the differences of, furniture rental per se, because I work for Court, what is furniture rental in Dallas compared to what it's like in Houston, compared to what it's like in San Antonio? You just got to, understand what that is. And more importantly, be the authentic brand that you say you are. And I think those are, again, back to your, question earlier about apartmentalized, but that really, truly today, I think, is speaking volumes to, the nuances, the personalities of not only the company that you work for and you really your own personal brand. It's really what is the brand and the nuance of the property that you're working at. And does your brand fit there? Does your persona work there? Does your marketing work there? Does your maintenance work there? It's a whole thing, I think. It's a whole authenticity thing.
What stood out to me that you said was authentic brand. And I love that, because I think when I think back to my days on site, you get an owner, and I'm in Arkansas. Let's say I get an owner out of California. And the thing that would trouble me the most was when they wanted to run an Arkansas property like a Dallas property. Yep. Like this is a whole nother spot. So I love the fact that you said, I sit down with my clients and I see what's happening in Phoenix, what's happening over here, what's happening over there, and not going into the situation feeling like, oh, well, I can run the entire country the same way because the product is furniture. Yeah. I think that's something about women leaders. We gotta think things through with this.
You gotta look at the whole picture. You gotta really understand it to know if you're a Coke person or a Pepsi person. I mean, come on, it's soda, right?
Exactly.
Soda, but there are Pepsi people.
What do they prefer? Well, right. And you said to keep it resident focused, and I think a lot of people forget that on the owner operator side, it's become such a business now in this industry that we're forgetting about the resident. And when I'm teaching these classes to my on-site professionals, I always tell them, the moment you don't want to serve the resident anymore, you need to find something else to do. Yep. I mean, you just do. And not to say you don't need to be in this industry. Maybe you need to be on the supplier side. Maybe you need to be on the affiliate side, but you don't need to be on site, because that is all about the resident experience.
Yeah. It's software. Yeah, I mean, you said it, Ty. It's, software. We're writing software in the apartment industry and in the residential management, with BTR and, STR and conventional and affordable. We're all writing software to take care of the resident. We're managing their records. We're managing their payments. We're managing their service requests. Everything that we do in the apartment industry, in the residential management industry, STR, BTR, whatever, is all focused on taking care of that resident. How do we interact with them? How do we, record what they're doing? How do we, keep track of them? How do we keep track of their payments? Everything that we do is very resident centric.
Yes, everything. And what I think it does is, now when I'm going to admit, when I was the young girl on site and all these tools were being rolled out, because I come from the days of when Yardi was being rolled out, Rent Cafe, the 1,000 suite of products that we use. And I couldn't understand it then, because of course it was just it's another tool. It's another thing to learn. But I think when we do centralize all of those parts of the move-in process and the move-out process, what we can do now is have real conversations with residents and get to know them. Yep. And be real people with them, because now 100 people are not in here to pay, because we're guiding them to the online portal. We're no longer writing up work orders, because we're guiding them to put the work orders in themselves. And we can really spend that time, because when I'm teaching leasing classes, what I'm realizing, Angie, is everybody has 4 walls and a floor. What is it? And now everybody has an Olympic style swimming pool. Everybody has Wind Down Wednesday. Why am I staying at the Grove on Oakdale Hill? I mean, like why?
Absolutely, girl. Absolutely. Even what we're doing with our employees, we're making sure that they are in a good position mentally, health-wise, everything, skill set, knowledge, again, to make sure that the resident is taken care of. And you're so right. It's, it's a tremendous responsibility, and it's, something that can be a lot of fun, and it can be, taxing sometimes, and it can be really a lot of different things. But, I think when you, like you said, when you find that mindset and you understand what the end goal is, I watched Masterclass going from Sarasota to Philly. And it was on atomic habits. And it's, it's not just the end goal that you want to get to. It's all of the little itty bitty baby steps. It's the learning, it's the health, it's the mental, awareness. It's everything that builds up so you can reach your goal. And I really think that's what it's about. It's the baby steps that you take every single day to either help yourself or help your business, or help your career, or help your family. I mean, either way, everybody's in a leadership role to take care of either the leader of their family, or their leadership of their family nucleus, or the leadership of their friends, or their leadership of their business, or their community, or whatever it is. They've got to take care of themselves, and they really have to hone in on that skill set, hone in on those tools and resources that they've learned along the way.
You just dropped a very valuable nugget, and I don't want people to miss it, because what you talked about was, and this is the thing, we all look at the end and not the preparation and the road to get to the end, the mental health, the learning, the skills being challenged, the things to get to the end. We're all just looking at the final finale, and we're not thinking about the bumps and the bruises and the scrapes and the sacrifices that we're going to make to get to that. I love it, because I was just looking at, it was on Facebook the other day, and it was a guy, and he was boarding a plane, and he was going somewhere warm, but he had on a hoodie, and he had on like a skull cap. And the lady that was next to him, because they were going to the beach, she already had on her sandals and her shorts and everything. And she told him, she said, "You're dressed like you're going to the North Pole." But when they got on the flight, he happened to be sitting next to this lady, and she was talking about, "Oh my God, it's freezing on here." All she was thinking about was her final destination. She wasn't prepared for the journey that it was going to take to get there.
Lay it down, Ty. Lay it down.
This really made me think about what you just said, because that is the thing. I think we all think about the end. And I'm going to be an RVP. I'm going to be the president at court. I'm going to be this. I'm going to be that. And we don't look at, well, this is what it's going to take. And this is how I'm going to have to be mentally prepared, financially prepared to get to that end game. So I just wanted to make sure that the people called it. That I wanted to make sure that didn't go over nobody's head. So career growth in real estate. We know you started on the owner-operator side. We started with Dad being one of the chairs of the board. I didn't even know that about you. I've never heard that until today. So yeah, that shows me a lot. So how would you say, even having a relationship, having the inside knowledge about the industry, how did your career grow and where is it going?
Yeah, great question. I think, my career, when I got started, I started out leasing, and you got to start at the bottom. I'm a firm believer of that. You've got to learn every little bit along the way. And I know that I had an assistant manager who'd been at the property and been in property management for, I think, probably 15 or 20 years at that point. And I was like, oh, I want to be there too. I want to be there too. And here I am. I think you just have to take on those opportunities to stretch and grow and to reach sometimes. I think some of us get into a plateau. We want to get there quicker and faster, and we want to be the president of the company, or we want to be an RVP, just like we talked about just a few minutes ago. But you got to understand all of those little bits and pieces along the way of how it gets there. I don't think I intentionally, left property management to come to the supplier side, or want to stay on the supplier side and not go back to the property management side. Although that seems really crazy to me, because all the different technology that's out there, I don't know if I can get away with just my little, my 3-ring binder. I don't know if that works anymore, but it's all, you just kind of have to find your passion. And that's when I'm talking to people that want to get into the apartment industry or have no clue about the apartment industry. It really is, what is your skill set? What is your passion? What do you like to do? And, for me, I had, my dad in the industry, but I also had suppliers when I was in property management saying, hey, come to this association meeting, come to this, event. Let's meet people. Let's network. And I found a passion for selling raffle tickets. I think, when I moved to Florida, that was one of the things that I did. I got involved with the APAC, and I sold raffle tickets, and I raised money for PAC. And for me, that's a really easy conversation. But, to get into the industry, to grow your career, what is your passion? Do you love people? Do you love, working with your hands? Do you love problem solving? Do you love marketing? Do you love technology? Do you love, what is it that you love? Because I really am a firm believer that this industry can place anybody with any skill set in any job across the board, because we've got everything on the property management side. If you like money, guess what? You can be an assistant manager. You can go into finance. You can go into accounting. You can be the CEO of one of the big companies here. You can also do that on the supplier side. You like money. You can go into you like earning commissions. You can go into sales. You like account management. You like to nurture the relationship. You can get into account management. You can go on the supplier side with all of those different passions and skill sets. You can go on the property management side with all those skills. And I really think it's really, again, going back to the conversation earlier, sitting down, understanding what that person's passions are, what their skill sets are, and helping them navigate what those opportunities are in the apartment industry. It's a tremendous industry as a whole. And I benefited from it. My family, my immediate family, my family now, I met my husband in the industry. It really truly is a tremendous opportunity to to find friends across the country. I mean, I can go to any city and call up somebody and have a dinner date wherever I go. It's tremendous that, Seattle, I can call, Greg and Sloan Sorbana and Sherry Druckman if I want to go to South Florida. I mean, there's so many opportunities to meet friends and really apply the skills that you have as a person, those natural skills, those learned skills, in any job in the apartment industry.
You're so correct. If you come to Arkansas, you have time. You can definitely call me now, because when I'm in the DFW area, I will definitely be hitting you up to see if you're available. But you're right, Angie. This is an industry where you can take as long as you're a people person, as long as you love people, you can take any other skill that you have and put it with your love for people, and not only come into our industry, but be successful in this industry. And I think that's the thing.
But even Ty, if you don't like people and you like to be in front of your computer and you love the code and you love to only be one-on-one with your computer screen in front of you,
there's a place for you.
We have technology, we have development, we have coding, there's again a tremendous amount of opportunity here for any skill set. Again, it's just really a conversation.
Okay, you're part of RPM Careers, aren't you?
Well, it could maybe a small.
You need to be, because I think that's one of our things when we're talking about RPM Careers. We need to make sure that we're letting people know, when people say the multifamily industry, the rental housing industry, you think about a landlord, you think about a property manager, you think about an on-site professional.
A realtor. You think of a realtor.
Yep. Well, you just said so many other jobs, from coding. You could be a lawyer in our industry. You could be, there's so many other things that you can be. And I think shining a light on those things is what really matters. Now, before we move on and we get into Angie as a mom and how we met Kirk, I did want to ask you, we got to talk about it. We need to know, because I got some single homegirls in this industry, and you met Kirk in this industry, and they need to know what to do. Sure. So, I do want to talk about the importance of serving, though, on your local affiliate and the national affiliate, as far as your career growth goes. How important would you say that serving in the association is to that?
I think it's important. It's really important. It should be a part of the foundation of what you do, whether you're in the owner operator side, in the property management side, in operations, or you're on the supplier side. Not only is it going to give you the opportunities to meet people, and to network with owner operators, to network with suppliers, but it's going to give you that opportunity to build a network of trusted advisors, a network of trusted people within your circle, and really working with those people in the committees, whether, again, they're owner operators or suppliers. You have the opportunity to get to know somebody one-on-one. You get that, you can work side by side with them. I did a lot of work with the Fort Worth Apartment Association when I was still living in Texas, and we did a lot of things for the Union Gospel Mission. Tremendous opportunity there to work side by side on painting projects and building projects and landscaping projects with folks like Shar McCurdy and Jody Sporrell and Lisa Clark. And you got those opportunities by being there at the Apartment Association and volunteering some of your time. What is the ROI on that? I get asked that a lot. You know what? It's not instantaneous ROI. It is long-term ROI that you are building when you are taking those opportunities to get to know the Apartment Association executives, the people working within the associations. Additionally, it is a tremendous investment in the industry itself. It gives you the opportunity to learn about the rules and the regulations and impact fees and affordable housing legislation regulations that are impacting this industry. So you can have educated conversations with people who don't really understand what we do. They don't understand why there's not affordable housing. Affordable can mean a bunch of different things. Is it affordable for my kiddos? I have bonus kids because Kirk had kiddos before we got together. And, we've got a school teacher and we've got a civil servant. He's a police officer in Sarasota. affordable to them is much different than affordable, an affordable housing situation elsewhere. So, affordable housing to make sure that there is opportunities for people to have a home. I don't know. I posted something earlier last week about a home, and a home is a special place and it's your safe place. And we are very privileged to be able to take care of a home for somebody. And, for me, it's really understanding and learning without going, I'm scared to death. I don't know what I'm talking about. But if you're sitting in those apartment association meetings and you're networking with those people in the apartment association, you have the ability to ask those kinds of questions. Case in point, when I was in Dallas, I got put on the board of directors. I was a chair. I was a golf committee chair with Tommy Dodd and John Collins once upon a time, many, many, many years ago. And I sat in the legislative committee, and my household, oh my gosh, my mom, Democrat, my dad, Republican, and we didn't talk politics. There was no politics talked at our house. And so when I got on the legislative committee and I sat there and I was like, I don't know what y'all are talking about. First of all, I don't understand any of this. At the end of the meeting, because I had worked side by side with so many of those folks on a lot of the committees there at the association, I was like, yo, I don't know what y'all are talking about, Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, whatever. I don't understand. If somebody can please help me, please do. And I can tell you, because of that experience, people took me under their wing. They helped me understand what was happening, what was going on. Really the regulations and the legislative issues when it comes to the apartment association, we're highly regulated. You can't know everything, but if you have a network of people that can help you understand that, just like we have a network of people in the association that go to DC every year. We go to the state capitals in a lot of cities. I'm sure they do in Arkansas when they go and they talk to the government officials about what those issues are. Again, it's that camaraderie. It's that relationship that you have with those people at the apartment association to understand what the value of those relationships are long-term. I know that was a lot, but it really is about building those relationships.
Well, you're exactly right, because as you're saying those things, people are popping up in my head about Greg Sabana. I can go to Greg. I can ask the questions that I'm just like you, like, I don't know that. Marcy French, Kim Hurd, Ashia. There's people that are behind the scenes. And I'm going to tell you this. I really like Alan King, our incoming chair. Alan has this spirit about him to where he's so approachable. And I feel like if anything that I did not know, even Bob, anything that I did not know.
Everybody.
Like Bob is super cool. And I think if there was something that I didn't understand the intricacies of how NAA worked, I could just have a conversation with him and say, hey, Bob, how does this work at NAA? And I wouldn't feel this small. He would take the time, explain it to me. So you're right. Having those relationships with certain people, it does give you that village, that tribe of people to where you're like, I really don't understand. Maybe I should. I don't feel comfortable asking this question. So instead of stunning my growth, these are people that I can go to and I can feel vulnerable and I can ask these questions. And another thing is having.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. I was going to say, and having those relationships give you job security in this industry, because we all know how fickle the multifamily industry is. It just, I love us, but we can be a very fickle industry, especially when you're on site, because a new owner can come in. There's so many different situations that can change property management jobs. And if you know people, if you've been a part of your association, sometimes it's really just being able to pick up the phone and call and say, hey, Angie, do you know who's hiring? Hey, this happened on site today. I'm looking for something. And you're able to call somebody and say, like, hey, Tom's looking for something.
Give me your perspective. So, tell me, XYZ is happening. Give me your perspective on what you think about it. Going into a sales speech, if you will, it's a consultative type situation. Tell me what your perspective is so I understand, so I can be a better communicator when it comes to whatever that is. And, for me, listening to, some of the folks, even going to the legislative meetings, like Advocate in Washington, D.C., and being in the same room, in the same situations, and talking about those things that impact us. Without having those experiences with those executives or with those suppliers, you don't really know what the impact there is on your business. And so again, that vulnerability with your network of people, your tribe, your CEO, your board, without having that vulnerability, you don't grow, you don't learn, and you don't understand other people's perspective.
Definitely. Now, before we move on to a few personal things about Angie, I do have to just bring up the fact that we've mentioned Court and that you work at Court. Shout out to my girl Tiffany Cullum with Court in Memphis, Tennessee. I have always been an honorary Court employee. Never been on the payroll before, but I have always repped Court because you guys are some of the best people who work there. But I want to give you guys a shout out for making the Court logo where you can put it on your clothes with, what are y'all doing, the Velcro? I'm thinking y'all uniforms are
like, it's a sticker, y'all. It's a sticker. We can stick it right on our lapel and everything becomes Court.
So that was the smartest thing in the world, because I'm like, I just want to work for Court because they dress nice. Like, they got a bomb uniform. And I found out it's not the uniform. It's just the people. Because it's one girl who works for you guys. I don't know her name, but I met her in DC. So if she's out there and she's listening, she wears Rihanna Fenty red lipstick. I went and bought some after I saw her in it.
Yes.
Blonde hair, super beautiful. And she had that on with a green blazer. And I said, oh my God, is this the blazer is this the Court uniform blazer? I was like, I want to work at Court so I can wear one. And she showed me that she stuck it on.
That is my counterpart. That is my counterpart, Jessica Ragsdale. She is amazing. She has mentored me on my entire journey here at Court. And she and Pete Regulus, I would not want to work for a group of people better suited and taking care of this craziness, to help me understand what's going on and how to live Court. So she's tremendous. She's amazing.
Yes, and she looks amazing. Yeah, even in her fly home to the airport outfit, I was like, "Where did you get that jacket from?" She's like, "Oh, I just cut it and made it." I was like, "Okay, you won. Usually I win, but you won in the airport outfit." All right, so we talked about Apartmentalize. We talked about how Angie got into the industry. We talked about Dad. We talked about surfing. Now we want to talk about Kirk. So, your husband in this industry, how did that happen?
Oh my goodness! So there he is right there. A little shout out to the hubs right there. The Captain Kirk. We met in the industry. We had a lot of friends nationally that kept talking about one another. We had a client that we had a conference, with for many years. We had a lot of opportunities where we were in some of the same classes, some of the same seminars. And it really just kind of came about when the time was right. So, it was a tremendous opportunity to meet a gentleman who has the same passion that I do for the industry, which is hard to keep up with, which is hilarious. And the fact that my dad was in the industry and now I've got Kirk Downey in the industry. But he's tremendous. He has such a passion for helping people, such a passion for this industry. When he's talking business because he gets into this business mindset and this conversation. But we both had the opportunity to be on the National Suppliers Council. You'll see some of the hardware up there. We were fortunate or unfortunate enough to work together. One, he was chairman before I was. We got to be chairman and co-chair during COVID. So I think the NSC, the NAA NSC was in good hands during that time with the two of us at the helm. But we've had a tremendous partnership and tremendous marriage. So I'm super blessed to have him in my life. Y'all, anybody on that can tell us what Kirk does? Because Kirk does a lot of different things. He's a mentor. He's a leader. He works for, right now, he's got a company called Supplier Partner Resource. They are a consulting company. They have an Ops Pro advisor arm. They have all kinds of different opportunities to help owner operators as well as suppliers make those connections, understand the nuances of the apartment industry. So we are tremendously blessed with the amount of people that reach out and ask us for information and ask us for advice. And, we really are in it for the industry and to help everybody succeed. So that's what he does. So.
I mean, that's amazing. Now, did he win something recently? Seems like I saw his name.
Did you hear? So we are sitting in. So my husband is a PAC ambassador. He is actually, I don't know if y'all can see up there, but he's in the Brad Williams circle for contributing for a certain amount of years at the platinum level. So there's a select group, a very dedicated group of people who back the PAC every year. It's a tremendous honor for him to be a part of that, for sure. But he bought a ticket this year for the raffle, as he always does, to support the industry. And as we're sitting in the Mark Wahlberg in the final session, Bill Rancic was up on the stage and he was getting ready to make the announcement on who won the raffle at NAA Apartmentalize. He got on the stage and he says, Kirk, and he looks at it and he looks up again, and everybody in the audience yells Downey in our little section where we work. As again, he's a platinum donor. He gets a few little privileges. And it was him. He won the raffle, and we get to choose between a CMA Awards in June, a trip to Montego Bay, Jamaica. Hopefully those folks out there are all okay with the hurricane situation, or a stay and grill kit. So, and it was funny because Bill asked Kirk while we were sitting there, what do you think? And Kirk goes, well, it's up to mama. And he looks at me and he goes, are you mama? And I'm like, yes, I'm mama. But I don't even know. All I could do was giggle. And friends of ours videoed it. It was hilarious. But I just kept giggling and kept giggling as I'm like, I don't even, because he had literally, Ty just told me, I'm going to win this. So what do you think? And Roger Southam is sitting on the other side of him. And Roger goes, what do you mean you're going to win? And Kirk goes, I just know I'm going to win. And he goes, okay. And there they call his name. And so I have no idea. I'm giggling at the whole situation. I don't know what we're going to end up doing.
Since Kirk is manifesting, if you can get Kirk to manifest that I win next year for Midsize Affiliate of the Year, because I kept saying that too, and I didn't win, Kirk. So I need some Kirk to use you. So I can win. So
he is so lucky. Holy man. He is really, really lucky. And I am just as lucky in life to have him in my life. So what a tremendous funny, very funny situation.
I have a Kirk at home. His name is Steve, and he's lucky too. But what I think that it is that when you explain Kirk and giving and the passion for people, when you're a giver, you reap what you sow. What you put out into the universe is what comes back to you. And my husband is the same way. We were just in New Orleans. We were waiting on an Uber in a sidebar diner, and we stepped in because it said 13 minutes for the Uber. 2 slot machines in the back of this restaurant that nobody probably ever plays. My husband goes there and hits for $300 off of a $2 ticket. To the point where the owner goes a shoe in the back to pay him out. And I heard the owner when he said, damn, when he looked at the ticket. So, no.
That is awesome. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
But he has the same luck though, and it's because he will stop and help anybody. He is that kind of person. So the universe is so good to him, and I'm attached to him, and so I get the spillover naturally of being attached to him. So
yes.
Angie talked about today. Just like with every other guest that I've had on here, when you leave, I feel like we're friends. I feel like I know you so much better. I think the listeners feel the same way too. You shared a lot with us about the multifamily industry. Before we get off of here, because we're on 54 minutes, like we're to the top of the hour.
Really? Oh my gosh. I wasn't even paying attention.
It doesn't feel like that when you're talking to me. I know. It doesn't.
This has been so easy.
So if there's anything else that you have to say to anybody that's listening, anybody who tuned in because they wanted to know who was Angi, what else do you have to say to the people today, Angi?
Holy mackerel. There's so much. No, I'm just kidding. I just want to say thank you for reaching out. Thank you for being a part of my life. Thank you for supporting me, for challenging me, for again, this industry is family. It's multifamily. And I have been blessed in more ways to really cultivate friendships and relationships and across the country. And, from my dad's days to my days and to Kirk's days and our days in the future, it's just tremendous to have this kind of friendship, this kind of family out there to love and support and when you need it most. So thank you for being here.
It is. And you're welcome. And thank you for answering the call and for being available. And you're right. I think this is an industry. What other life would Angi and Ty had met? What else could have brought us to go to dinner now and to be able to share some laughs and a conversation with each other? So this is definitely something that this industry does for us. It brings people that are totally different. Yep. And it brings us together with the things that we have in common and helps us build a bridge from that. And I think I love that because that's the old NAA and the new NAA coming together.
Yep.
That's absolutely what I see when I see these conversations happen. One of the things that we didn't talk about that I want to mention before we leave, the Pusateri Foundation.
Yeah.
You guys have something. So, but I don't know anything about that. I've heard about that. I hear, hey, Angi, they have a foundation. I'm like, no, I don't know. So let's talk about that for a second.
Whew. Okay. So, y'all heard the story about my dad, Tony Pusateri. He had a huge influence on the apartment industry. Not only was he an NAAEI founder, but believed in people and believed in giving them the opportunity for education, for training, and that type of thing. And when my dad passed away in 2011 from brain cancer, the National Apartment Association, shout out to Jeff Lowry, for helping set up, and I might cry, so I apologize. Helped to set up a foundation for my dad in his honor in case something were to happen to him. And unfortunately, we lost my dad in 7 weeks. As you can imagine, an educator, someone who's very passionate about people and so forth. We had a tremendous outpouring of support through that whole situation. So the depth of the multifamily support for me is tremendous. But we started a Anthony V. Tony Pusateri Foundation in his honor to be able to raise some funds to dedicate scholarships to associations, to people, to companies who are providing education opportunities for individuals in the apartment industry. The Texas Apartment Association has won it several times. I'm not going to remember everybody, so I apologize. There's a MAP program. It's a maintenance appreciation program that's run in Denver, Colorado. I keep up with that group frequently. I get updates from them. We've put over 250 people, I think, through that maintenance program to put people to work in the Denver market. And so because of my dad's foundation and because of the support of the National Apartment Association Education Institute, we have been able to give people some additional funding for those education opportunities to bring people into the apartment industry through apartment careers. So
I love that. I love it coming from an affiliate side. I love it coming from an on-site professional because there's different credentials we haven't been able to teach here in Arkansas because of that. Because even we don't have enough people signed up or the burden of being able to pay for that type of facilitator like CAMT. We've never had CAMT here because of being able to bring in somebody. So the next time that application goes out with NAA, I will make sure that I feel out for it, because this is definitely something in line with what we need. So I'm glad that I asked you that question.
Well, I was looking for a picture. I had a picture up here of one of my dad's CAMT centers back in the early 80s. It was the third CAMT center that they put together. Pegboards, hammers, very simple, very not as elaborate as some of them are today. So that's what I was looking for while you were talking, was that picture. But we've been blessed. The Pusateri family has been blessed for many years, many generations, my generation as well, of taking care of people and being a part of this industry. So it runs deep. I'm proud to be a legacy of the apartment industry.
Yes, and I am proud to know you, Angie. I'm so glad that we met, and that Ashia, when we were brainstorming, and I was like, okay, I need season 3 guests. Who can I come up with? She was like, okay, Angie, I think it's Pusateri. I don't want to butcher her last name. She's like, there's some good stuff going on, and they have this foundation, and she's a person that everybody should know, Ty. Let's bring her on. So thank you so much for joining me today. No, you are amazing. You're definitely amazing, Angie. And I look forward to just getting to know you more and cultivating this relationship even more. And just becoming homegirls. Like, that's it. That's all. So,
the curly, as Marcy says, the curly girls. Woo woo.
Oh, exactly. You have an amazing day, Angie, and I look forward to seeing you. I'm sure to see you in Atlanta at AOD at the end of the year in November. So a lot of hugs and a lot of pictures. I'm gonna get my pictures in, honey. So when you see me, just start smiling, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Boom. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you, y'all. Thank you.
Have an amazing day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.